we have Jeffrey Bennick, the Chief Executive Officer from Aleafia Health. Jeff, how are you today?
Good morning, Patrick. How you doing?
I'm great, man. I am great. Now, remind me, the ticker here is ALEAF. ALEAF, is that correct?
It's AH on the TSX, and on the OTCQX, it's ALEAF.
Perfect. So you've got both there, you guys, TSX and OTC. Throw your questions in the chat for Jeff, but Jeff, I'll let you get rolling here.
Yeah, well, good morning again. Thank you, Patrick, for having me here, and a big thank you to the team at Benzinga for hosting this event and giving a great platform to both issuers and to retail investors. It's a real exciting time and always great to be able to communicate with our investors, both current and hopefully new, during this unprecedented pandemic time in the history of the world, let alone the history of cannabis. So for those of you that do not know me, my name is Jeffrey Bennick. I am the CEO of Aleafia Health, which is listed, as we mentioned earlier, on the TSX and the OTCQX markets. OTCQX markets. So I just want to introduce myself and who I am. So my background is, my experience has been in, for the most part, supply chain. But prior to that, I was a professional hockey player. Played mostly in the minors, drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks, on with the Rangers and Boston Bruins. But ultimately, along the way, I met a lot of friends and had a lot of players I played with and played against. And a lot of these folks started to have a dependency on opiates and narcotics for a whole bunch of reasons. It could be for a sleep aid, could have been a pain aid, it could have been a mental stress aid, and or a eating disorder aid. So a lot of these players I played with, unfortunately, start to build a dependency on those narcotics, and it wasn't a really good outcome for some of them. And for some of them, unfortunately, they've lost their lives as well. So I put myself on an opiate narcotic reduction, and that is truly my mission. I also, in the background, after hockey, I went on and I worked in supply chain with some of the biggest names from Amazon, Walmart, Nestle, Campbell Soup, just to name a few of them. And I've learned a lot of lessons from supply chain, and really took to knowledge and took all the learnings I had from supply chain and used our second mover advantage here at Aleafia. So I was hire number one, and I built the entire team here. It's a diverse team from investment banking, pharma, CPG, and healthcare. Just to name some of them, Benjamin Ferdinand, my CFO, ex-Wall Street and Bay Street Toronto banker, with some of the big names. Greg Rossi, who's kind of followed me around. He's our COO. He's been following me around throughout my career. Just tried, tested, and true. Has done a great job at building out our operations and running our operations. We're going to talk about that. And then Trish Sims, who's our latest and greatest onboarder here. She comes from healthcare, and she is currently our Chief Commercial Officer. Has just done a trailblazing job at getting us into market, as we've up until about last year, we finally got all our licenses to under Health Canada to be able to sell. And then last but not least, Dr. Michael Verbor, our medical director, is just phenomenal doctor in medical cannabis. He's been scripting it for 6 years. You look at him and think that he's just been a wealth of knowledge in the industry and has just created so many great experiences for a lot of people and helping them and children to that point as well, to get off of opiates and narcotics and cannabis as a replacement. So a little about Aleafia. So we're a licensed producer under Health Canada. So what does that mean? It means that we're licensed to cultivate cannabis, we're licensed to produce products, we're licensed to sell products. We're founded in 2018, so it hasn't been too long. But since then, we've built and operationalized our world-class production assets. which became licensed in the first half of 2020. And it's only in the back half of last year that we actually commenced bringing high-value cannabis products to the market at scale. Okay, that's important, and we'll talk about scale. You're going to hear a lot about that in this in the presentation. So we've gone from 2018, where we reported $600,000 in cannabis revenue, to 2019, that number increased to 11 million, and in 2020, revenue was 41 million. And I could tell you that we're having a great year so far this year, as opposed to last year, and sequentially, we're going to have some really good quarters coming here. So from day one, we've been incredibly focused on building a patient ecosystem, providing a one-stop shop for medical cannabis patients. To that end, we built a very, very diverse and differentiated roster of cannabis products, which we now also begun to deploy in the adult use market and internationally. And that's something I'll spend a fair bit of time discussing today. So as I mentioned, we are vertically integrated. We have diversified and integrated production systems. So if you go from our facilities, and I'm going to talk about some of them at length, but if I looked at our ecosystem, I would say that we go from having clinics to having patients, to having doctors that see those patients, to then scripting them, for some of the indications that we typically deal with, which I mentioned earlier, which is pain, anxiety, sleep, and eating disorders. And then we take the plants that we've grown, strain specific, and we put them into production. We sell them as flower, sell them as vapes, sell them as oils, capsules, et cetera, et cetera. And then we go as far as using our supply chain to be able to not only deliver to that patient, but also to distribute to some of the wholesalers across Canada, the rec channel. We'll talk about that. We have 3 production facilities, so it's an outdoor, 88 acres. I'm going to talk about that at length shortly, and that's completely outdoor. We're excited about that one. This is our 3rd year of planting. We'll talk about that, and I'm excited about it because we don't burn any electricity there. So for all those environmentalists, we're not. We actually are probably negative CO2 on that, but I'll talk at length about our outdoor. We have a greenhouse about 160,000 square feet, and that is GACP certified. And what's important about that is that it builds a moat around our business. I'll talk about it at length later on. But our greenhouse is where we cultivate roughly about 30,000 kilos, or I guess that'd be almost 60,000 pounds of high quality indoor cannabis through this Dutch hybrid greenhouse. And we then, through a processing and packaging process, we create an EU GMP finished product that we can sell into Europe. And we'll talk about that because that's very exciting and a very emerging market. And finally, our manufacturing facility, which is kind of the epicenter of our business today. It's in Paris, Ontario. It's a lab that's going to be EU GMP certified, just waiting for COVID-10 so we can get our final inspection and get that certified so we can sell product into the Euro and continue building a moat around our business. And as I mentioned, our supply chain distribution, home delivery, we'll talk about that a little later on, our clinics, research, and our house of brands. So I want to talk about our competitive advantage. So we like to say that we have second mover advantage. So what does that mean? That means that, there were a lot of the folks and companies that came out early and they just overbuilt. We built our assets to compete and give key competitive advantages, so we're right-sized. And, the other competitive advantage is that we are, with our GACP and EU GMP process and soon to be EU GMP certified oils and derivative products, we can globally export. And what's important about that is globally, cannabis is emerging, especially in Europe and slowly the Pac Rim and Australia and Africa. And we're getting higher revenue per gram there, and we'll talk about that. We're also a low-cost production, high margin, and with differentiated product manufacturing at scale. So what I mean by that, and we'll talk about our outdoor grow, is we're able to take low-cost product, input material, and be able to turn it into high-margin products. We'll talk about that. So some of the best margins in the industry, and we continue to lead just because of of our ability to be fully vertically integrated and control those costs through and through. So I'm going to talk about our outdoor growth. So we're first in Canada, growing on 13 acres in 2019. And in 2020, we grew about 50 acres and harvested about 31,000 kilos. Again, I'm sorry about the crossover on the pounds, but let's just say it's 60,000 pounds. And our plans for 2021 are already on their way. We've had 2 successful seasons. And last year, we bought the farm next to us, so we increased to 50 acres of growing. This year, we're going to do 88 acres. And this is the first year where we're going to have absolutely no obstructions. So last year was kind of, get the new farm, build in the pump stations for the water and irrigation systems, feed systems, dry barns. But this is the first year where we're actually going to have no obstructions. We're excited about it. I was out there last week. The team's really jazzed up. It's going to be a great planting season. Plants are going in 2 weeks. And the other part is that asset of ours is fully sustained now. We propagate there, we plant there, and we have a whole bunch of new cultivars that are going to be dynamite and that perform very, very well, both in the flower segment and also taking that flower for extraction for finished goods. And, it's a really low cost opportunity for us. We're also this year going to have, we're actually going to have dried flower coming from outdoors. So imagine that grown with nature's sun. We're excited about that, and the cultivars are going to be dynamite. We're looking forward to that, and I think a lot of folks are as well. So if you look at our brand portfolio, I just want to move to it. So that's exactly what you see in the slide here. What we've developed is a highly differentiated portfolio of brands, each with its own unique products and appealing to specific consumer audiences. So a key theme here is focusing on areas with competitive advantages and where there are gaps in the market. So the parent brand is Sunday Market. So cannabis consumers place a great deal of value on being authentic. So locally produced products and in having a direct connection with the companies that they buy from. So the genesis of Sunday Market brand and the family is that we are really appealing to local consumers through our focus on Ontario market. All 4 of our facilities are within 90 minutes drive of Toronto, which is very unique among Canadian cannabis companies. And for U.S. listeners, there are 9 million people who live in the geographic area, or 25% of Canada. So under Sunday Market, we have 5 new brands with 4 of the 5 which we recently launched. So our Kin Slips, incredibly innovative sublingual strip, rapid onset, 10 minutes. You put the strip underneath your tongue, and within 10 minutes, you're getting the effect of it. Great sleep aid, or if you want to let loose, depending on the format, if it's THC or CBD. But it comes in all formats, and it's just great. And what we can do is we use it for both patients and consumers, as it is very discreet, fits in your pocket, and it's easy to use. This was our top selling product in 2021. I want to focus on Bogart's Kitchen. So this is our edible only brand. It's our first our first product was our THC soft chews, with the CBD line extension coming soon. So here we emphasize innovative R&D and also culinary artistry to create a great tasting cannabis edible. Again, more to come here. I want to focus on Divvy now. So Divvy is our everyday cannabis brand. It's high quality, high potency, flower, pre-rolls, and vapes, and are by far the largest product categories in Canada. So we've launched with pre-rolls and dried flower at very accessible prices that have made a great splash in the market. In fact, our pre-rolls have been #1 on the Ontario Cannabis.ca site for the past 2 weeks. So they're really trailblazing. I think everyone's starting to really enjoy them and see what we've actually delivered on in terms of value. Our new Divvy pre-rolls were the top selling SKU in Ontario Cannabis Store for the last 2 weeks, as I mentioned. And we're now launching a 14-gram pouch and a 10-gram milled flower. And what's important about that is that it really gets higher sales, better margins, because we're saving on packaging, and the ring's a lot higher. So Noon and Night is our last. It's our health and wellness brand. It's truly a trailblazing brand. It delivers CBD dominant wellness and personal care products. This really sets us apart and fills the gap in the marketplace. We just launched Omega CBDs, first time to ever have omega-3 products, and it's one of the most popular nutritional supplements. And we've also had some fizz bath bombs and a couple new pretzel coming real soon. I want to focus real quick on international. So on international, we are working hard with our EU GMP soon-to-be facility, but our GACP product, our flower, is on the finish line of being exported into Germany and to other markets. And what's important about that is that it's a much higher revenue per gram. So we're excited about that. And you need that certification that we've worked so hard for. And we're just waiting for Health Canada export permits. I want to talk about a differentiation in terms of medical ecosystem. So one of our key differentiators are medical models. So you can be scripted, seen, and heard same day, and have your product delivered to you same day. That's a game changer. It's the first in the marketplace, and we do a great job. The last thing I want to talk about is our Unifor opportunity. So we get coverage from large employers, and we've just launched a program of medical cannabis coverage that started seeing our first patients in the last couple of weeks. So being able to gain access to insurance coverage for workers is a game changer, and we're very excited to continue scaling this up. Unifor is Canada's largest private union, has 310,000 members, and if you add their qualifying household members, spouses and kids, and significant others, it's almost 1 million. So the first company to join the Unifor program is the Ford Motor Company of Canada, and we are now providing medical cannabis care products to Union Ford employees as of the last couple of weeks. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. I hope you find our opportunity exciting, and we look forward to having you as our shareholders. And thank you. Back over to you for any questions.
Yes, thanks, Jeff. Thank you. So a couple of things, and you guys in the chat, let us know if you have some things to discuss here. But let's talk about the value chain here for a second, Jeff. It seems like you guys are operating, or must be, at a pretty high level to be clicking on all cylinders here: cultivation, extraction, distribution, this new house of brands that you've launched in Q1 here. Right? Where do you go from here? Do you add scale to the markets you're in? Are you expanding the footprint to other markets? And feel free to talk a little bit more about Germany and Europe and what that means for you too. But I'm interested to know where you go from here.
So our focus is always to drive, valued products into the Canadian marketplace, and I think we've done a great job with that. We're fully built out, so there's actually no more build outs for us at this point. So our focus right now in Canada is just pure execution on continually delivering high value products from low input material, and really create that great experience in our medical channel as well as into our adult use or recreational channel. So we're going to continue hitting on and focusing on that in Canada. And again, continue to grow with Unifor and look at other employers, because that's a game changer to us in the sense that what we're doing is collecting a tremendous amount of data that we're going to be able to use to quantify a value proposition to other employers, and not just in costs and reduction in opiates and narcotics, but also an improvement in the performance of that employee. And we think that by us having that data, it's a game changer we're going to be able to sell into. The last thing in terms of our value chain, and probably the most important for us in the next 2 quarters, if not till the end of the year, is international. The margins are much higher. Europe is just coming online. It's to give you an indication, where we're getting $2 to $3 a gram here in Canada, we're getting $7 a gram in Europe. And one of the and getting to Europe is not easy. You've got to get GACP certification, you have to get EU GMP certification, then you have to work with Health Canada to export, and we're learning all that, and we've done that. And these are things that don't take days and weeks and months. This was a 1 year, if not almost close to a 2-year process. So we're going to have first mover advantage there for the first time, and we're really going to get our brands out into Europe. And right now it's with flower, but longer term, you're going to start seeing our edibles out there, our oils out there, our tinctures, sublinguals, and we're just going to keep hitting the nail on the head all day for the rest of time.
Good. Jeff, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time today, man. And I'll ask you just, where can people reach you? Is there a website or an email that you want to give us?
Yeah, so real simple, ir@aleafiahealth.com. We have our own IR internal here, and it's Nick Bergamini heads that up, does a great job for us, very responsive. So it's ir@aleafiahealth.com. And again, thank you, and good luck to everyone, and stay safe and healthy.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. You too, man. I'm sure we'll be in touch about the Stanley Cup playoffs and who you're picking.
Yes.
All right, man. Have a great day. We'll see you later.
Thank you.